Hi, welcome to tonight's Foxy Little Nuggets. This is where the great pronouncements of state and politics meet the great brick wall of reality, and the resultant fallout is swept up by those who really know what they're doing. We begin with Andy Burnham's grand plan to rescue Britain's high streets. More powers for councils, restrictions on vape shops and betting shops, action against ugly signage. Apparently, number 10 has finally discovered that half the country looks as though somebody decorated it using Temu. But former Marks & Spencer's boss, Lord Stuart Rose, is distinctly unimpressed. He says Labour's-style retail intervention is bad, previously describing similar attempts at state control as idiotic and dangerous because politicians haven't got a clue about retail. And there is that obvious problem with Burnham's latest plan. Government can regulate what operates an empty shop, but it cannot legislate somebody into wanting to open that shop, be it a butcher, a baker, or an independent department store. For that, you need customers with money, business making profits, taxes low enough that opening a shop doesn't resemble a particularly elaborate form of self-harm, and the fact that people are willing to take the risk in order to make a profit for themselves, not to be taxed heavily for the government. Still, I'm sure another planning regulations will have Debenhams back on the high street before Christmas. After all, we all missed it. I love Debenhams. I did miss Debenhams. They were great. Asylum seekers. Oh dear. Well, there's a problem with asylum seekers, and the problem is that those who are wealthy and powerful always ensure that the asylum seekers are not in their areas, because after all, they're the ones that make the call, aren't they? But Burnham says the wealthier parts of Britain must play their part in housing asylum seekers. The argument he's saying is that poorer communities have carried too much of the burden and that affluent areas should take their share as well. Well, that's one way of dealing with a very unpopular policy. Instead of making it more popular, you make sure everybody gets equal misery. But alas, that is the true benefit of socialism. It's not that everyone is lifted up, it's that those who are up are lifted down. It follows furious opposition in places such as Piddington in Oxfordshire, where residents have protested against plans to accommodate 1,250 single male asylum seekers at a nearby former military site. They say there's no way to deal with the vast tsunami of seamen coming their way. Burnham's solution appears to be geographical equality. If people in deprived towns don't want asylum accommodation and people in wealthy villages don't want asylum accommodation, then fairness demands ignoring both of them equally. That's democracy streamlined. Of course, the ultimate answer is concentration camps. But Burnham has zero balls. In fact, he's actually got fewer balls than Starmer, and Starmer had none. So that kind of puts Burnham on negative testicle territory, doesn't it? Maybe they've scooped back inside, you know. Does explain that really high pitched voice, because they haven't dropped. Another great story here is you couldn't make this up. And it's Europe. They've discovered the Rwanda plan because several European countries are now pursuing talks about establishing a migrant return hub in Rwanda. You know, the very same hub that the Tories bought, paid for and built in Rwanda before on day one of coming into power. They went, no, not having that, and got rid of. And then said, we're going to stick with the EU rules. And the EU are all going, we're having Rwanda. And it so happens that Rwanda have actually got this spare hub sitting there that some idiot paid for. Well, Denmark, Austria, Germany, Greece, the Netherlands, and possibly others have all been associated with the discussions. Europe is now making it its actual official approach to failed asylum seekers. As soon as you're picked up, you're sent to Rwanda. You'll be dealt with there. And if you fail, you're Rwandan now. I wonder how the Rwandans will relate to this. Well, they're getting a lot of money for it, so probably okay. Now, the sense of deja vu will be overwhelming, of course, for those of you who remember way back 2 years ago when Britain had the same plan until Starr went, oh, don't get rid of it, look at me, I'm great. And now he looks like the inside of a scraped testicle, doesn't he? He really is. He is a scrotum. He's a man who's basically a stretched scrotum put in a very expensive suit and made it the Prime Minister. That was Starmer, wasn't it? The scrotum of power. Anyway, Labour scrapped it, and now the EU governments are effectively standing around saying, Rwanda, you say? Overseas processing. Interesting concept. And then doing it. Politically, the optics are terrible for Burnham, aren't they? He's leading a party that says he wants ever closer union with the EU, while actually getting rid of the one thing that the EU are doing right. Billions were spent, and then abandoned. Still, I'm sure Europe has immediately started rummaging through the recycling bin, looking for other plans that the Labour Party dropped when they came to power. Nice. Rayner. Oh, this is a cracking story. I don't know if you know this. Well, you won't, because I haven't told you. In case you're wondering, by the way, these foxy little nuggets are a little heads up for news that I'm putting out the following day. Some people have picked up on that. Well done if you have. Anyway, so you won't have heard this one. But Rayner has lost track of the tax. Not her own. We all know she lost track of her own tax. But Rayner has managed to get one of Burnham's flagship tax policies 100% wrong. It's a clear case of a woman who hasn't got a clue what she's doing or saying, put into a position of power, thrown out in front of the cameras and gone, sitting there, mouth flapping like a confused guppy. Anyway, she was on LBC and she claimed Labour had cut VAT for certain businesses. No, it hasn't. What Burnham actually announced was possibly a 20% reduction in business rates for pubs, clubs and live venues. VAT? No, not so much. Business rates, different thing. Entirely different thing. It's a small distinction, of course. If only her only interaction with taxation is, stamp duty. And even that confused her. But there we go. Rayner is the housing secretary. You'd think she'd know something. But alas, it is clear that she knows nothing. Is she from Barcelona? Or does she just go there to sit on a little floaty, drinking San Miguel and smoking her vape? God, she's common as muck, isn't she? As my mother would say, common as muck. Anyway, you'd think, though, that somebody would have explained to her what taxes and which tax was being cut, but apparently not. Nobody knows what the taxes are. Nobody in the cabinet, anyway. So what hope? What hope do we have as a country? Anyway, and finally, and this is a cracking story. And actually, it's genuinely rather lovely, I've got to be honest. It's an American tale, but even so, the humanity of it is fantastic. Professional women's baseball has returned to America with the new Women's Pro Baseball League. It's becoming the first major women's professional league of its kind since the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League disappeared in 1954. And throwing the ceremonial first pitch at its very first opening game was Maybelle Blair, no relation. She is an ex-professional baseball player. She last played in 1948. She's now 99 years old. 78 years after taking to the field herself, Blair was there to watch another generation of young women begin a professional baseball league of their own. And I think that there's something marvellous about that. I mean, let's face it, she wouldn't have been able to throw the ball hard or far at 99. But she was there. Fantastic. She watched, she played when it was a real thing. She lived long enough to see it disappear and then lived long enough to see it back. She's 99. Now that's staying for an extra innings, isn't it? Bottom of the 99th. The bases are tied. And Blair has got a bat in her hand. Well done to her. And well done to the American girls. I don't know if they call it the Women's League now. They can't call it the All Girls, can they? The Girls All Stars, because, girls, 54 girls. No, Women's League now. Although, let's hope it stays Women's League and they don't get men playing it. Hello, I'm Brenda. No, you're not, mate. You're a pretendy Wendy. Get that kit off, I played baseball once. Actually, no, I don't mean I played baseball once. I once played baseball several times. It's a brilliant game. I like it. But I love watching baseball. It's the numbers. It's a numbers thing. Being an accountant and all. It's all there. It's it's hit rates. It's run rates. It's the stats. I just love stats because I'm that kind of person. But it's a marvellous summer game. Here's the thing though. Americans think it's an American game. Derby County play at the baseball ground, and they've played there before America even invented baseball. And if you read your Shakespeare, it talks about baseball in Shakespeare. So actually, baseball is another British game that the Americans had to steal. There we go. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks very much, and well done to Maybelle Blair. 99. Cheers. Bye.